Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Jayo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajika Jaja Shudra Sri Srimad is Divine Grace of Charanada Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajika Jaja Shudra Sri Srimad is Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai ISKCON Foundacharya, BBT Foundacharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Sam Veda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Go Premanandi, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Since you're up, would you like to open that door a little bit? Let's a little air in here. Let's see, 26. That's it. So this morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Suresh, Prabhu, what canto are we in? Okay, that's a good guess. There's 12 and you said 4. Okay, What canto were you in? 7th canto. 9th chapter, text 26. You could have cheated and looked at the board. So you stick with me. You stick with me, I'll tell you how to cheat in class, okay? Well, don't listen to him. It's right there on the board, Prabhu. Right there on the board. You got to look around, okay? There's that story Prabhupada told about the man who came for an interview. I don't know if it was for the railroad company or not. But the gentleman who was interviewing him asked him, how many cars are there on the Raj Express? Now, because it was a train, commuter train, that the gentleman was taking anyways. He said, how many cars are on that train? The man didn't know. In other words, you should observe things around you. Take note of everything. So I asked you what verse and canto we're in, and it's right there on the board, and you say the 4th canto. So now you know. If anyone ever asks you, just glance up at there, okay? And hopefully Govardhan's written the right verse. So.
Right now, 26.
Okay, we're moving on. That's the verse today. Very good. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kwaham Raja Prabhava Isha Tamodike Asmin. I'm just going to do word with the words. Jataha Suretara Kule Kwa Tavanukampa Na Brahmano Na Tu Bhavasya Na Vai Ramaya Yan Me Arpita Shirasi Padmakara Prasadaha. This is Brahma Samhita? Or is it no? Okay. Kwaham Raja Prabhavaisha Tamodikesmi. Con fuerte. Okay, bring it up a little bit. Jata Suretara Kule Kwatavanukampa Na Brahmano Natu Bhavasya Na Vairamaya Yanmer Pita Sirasi Padmakara Prasada Kwaham Raja Prabhavaisha Tamodikesmin Jata Suretara Kule Kwatavanukampa Na Brahmano Natu Bhavasya Na Vairamaya Yanmer Pita Sirasi Padmakara Prasada Kwaham Raja Prabhavaisha Tamodikesmin Jata Suretara Kule Kwatavanukampa Na Brahmano Natu Bhavasya Na Vairamaya Yanmer Pita Sirasi Padmakara Prasada. Anyone like to try? Chant? Kwaham Raja Prabhavaisha Tamodikesmin Jata suretra kule kvatavanukampa. Na brahmano natu bhavasya navairamaya. Yanmir pita sirasi padmakara prasada. Kvaham raja prabha isha tamodikesmin. Jata sure talakule kvatavanukampa. Na brahmano natu bhavasya navairamaya. Yanme prita sirasi padmakara prasadaha. Kvaham raja prabhava isha tamodikesmin. Jata sureta kule kvatavanukampa. Na brahmano natu bhavasya navairamaya. Yanme arpita sirasi padmakara prasada. One more. Kvaham raja prabhava isha tamodikesmin. Jata suretara kule kvatavanukampa. Na brahmano nutabhavasya navairamaya. Yanme pita sirasi padmakara prasada. Word for word. Kwa, where? Aham, I am. Raja prabhavaha, being born in a body full of passion. Isha, O my Lord. Tamaha, the mode of ignorance. Adike, surpassing in. Asmin, in this. Jataha, born. Sura itarakule, in a family of atheists or demons who are subordinate to the devotees. Kwa, where? Tava, your. Anukampa, causeless mercy. Na, not. Brahmana, of Lord Brahmā. Na, not. Tu, but. Bhavasya, of Lord Śiva. Na, nor. Vai, even. Ramaya, of the goddess of fortune. Yat, which. Me, of me. Arpitaha, offered. Shirasi, on the head. Padmakara, lotus hand. Prasadaha, the symbol of mercy. Translation. O my Lord, O Supreme, because I was born in a family full of hellish material qualities of passion and ignorance, what is my position? And what is to be said of your causeless mercy, which was never offered even to Lord Brahmā, Lord Śiva, or the goddess of fortune, Lakṣmī? You never put your lotus hand upon their heads, but you have put it upon mine. Prahlada speaking here. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prahlada Maharaj was surprised at the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. For although Prahlada was born in a demoniac family, and although the Lord had never before placed his lotus hand on the head of Brahmā, Śiva, or the goddess of fortune, his constant companion, Lord Nrsingadev kindly placed his hand on the head of Prahlada. This is the meaning of causeless mercy. The causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead may be bestowed upon anyone, regardless of his position in the material world. Everyone is eligible to worship the Supreme Lord irrespective of his material position. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter, 26th verse. Mam chayo vibhacharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Anyone who engages in continuous devotional service to the Lord is situated in the spiritual world and has nothing to do with the material qualities, sattva-gun, rajagun, and tamagun. Because Prahlada Maharaj was situated on the spiritual platform, he had nothing to do with his body, which had been born of the modes of passion and ignorance. The symptoms of passion and ignorance are described in Srimad Bhagavatam 1-19 as lust and hankering, tada rajastamo bhava kama lobha dayaschaye. Prahlada Maharaj, being a great devotee, thought the body born of his father to be born of passion and ignorance, but because Prahlada was fully engaged in the service of the Lord, his body did not belong to the material world. The pure Vaishnava's body is spiritualized even in this life. For example, when iron is put into a fire, it becomes red hot and is no longer iron but fire. Similarly, the so-called material bodies of devotees who fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord, being constantly in the fire of spiritual life, have nothing to do with matter, but are spiritualized. Srila Madhvacharya remarks that the goddess of fortune, the mother of the universe, could not get mercy similar to that which was offered to Prahlada Maharaj. For although the goddess of fortune is always a constant companion of the Supreme Lord, the Lord is more inclined to his devotees. In other words, devotional service is so great that when it is offered even by those born in low families, the Lord accepts it as being more valuable than the service offered by the goddess of fortune. Lord Brahmā, King Indra, and the other demigods living in the upper planetary systems are situated in a different spirit of consciousness, and therefore they are sometimes troubled by demons. But a devotee, even if situated in the lower planets, enjoys life in Krishna consciousness under any circumstances. Parato sato karmataha. As he acts himself, as he is instructed by others, or as he performs his material activities, he enjoys life in every respect. In this regard, Madhvacharya quotes the following verses which are mentioned in the Brahma Tarka. Sri Brahma Brahmavindradi Trikattat Stri Purustutaha Taranye Cha Kramadeva Sada Muktau Smritau Vapi Hari Bhakti cha tajjnane sukhi cha niyamena tu parata suto karmato va na kartan chittad anyata. Om agyantimarandasya gyaranjana salakaya chakshulun minitam dena taismai sri gurave namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Nena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchika Bhadarubhascha Kipa Sindhu Bevacha Patidanam Bhavani Bhyo Vaishnavi Bhyo Namo Namaha. So by your good wishes, I'll try to say some things. So, O my Lord, O Supreme, because I was born in a family full of hellish material qualities of passion and ignorance, what is my position? And what is to be said of your causeless mercy, which was never offered even to Lord Brahmā, Lord Śiva, or the goddess of fortune, Lakṣmī? You never put your lotus hand upon their heads, but you have put it upon mine. So the symptom of a neophyte devotee is they're always expecting or wanting something from Krishna. And the advanced devotees, they don't expect anything from Krishna at all. They feel themselves unqualified in regards to the Lord's mercy. And that's their qualification, and therefore they receive so much mercy. Prahlada Maharaj is saying here that Prabhupada gives the term causeless mercy. So what does that mean, causeless mercy? Some people think, well, it just means that without any rhyme or reason, somehow or other, someone gets some mercy, right? Just say there's one devotee on the morning walk, and he was telling Prabhupada that he and his friends, they were coming to the temple at the same time, but he's the only one who joined. So, why is that? And the point is, everyone, what people have to attract, Krishna doesn't just give arbitrarily, and that's the point I'm trying to make. That just, someone's walking down the street and bing, you become a devotee. Like that. It's not like that. There has to be something, and actually we know, chased right to the point, actually Krishna's mercy follows the prayers and blessings of the devotees, the Madhyamadhikaris, the preachers. That's how Krishna's mercy flows, and where does it flow? Where the devotees direct it. So the deliverance of the conditioned souls is dependent upon the devotees and their kindness and mercy and compassion, and that creates a channel for Krishna's mercy, where to put it. So when one receives the blessings and kindness, who was a devotee who blessed Prahlada Maharaj? Okay. I picked on you enough this morning. Okay. Sankarshan. Yeah, Narada Muni. Narada Muni showed his mercy, great mercy upon Prahlada Maharaj, and even taking the time to instruct him within the womb. He could understand in this womb, that's why he told the demigods, back off. Right? They were going to take Kayadu, wait till the child was born, and then kill the child, because it was the son of Hiranyakashipu, thinking he'd be maybe a bigger demon than his father. But Narada Muni intercepted that, and he said, no, you don't understand. In the womb of this child is a great Mahabhagavata. And Indra and the demigods, knowing of Narada Muni's stature as a great Zideva Rishi and great pure devotee of the Lord, they immediately accepted his words. They actually circumambulated Prahlada Maharaj in the womb and Kayadu, and then they left. And then he took Kayadu to his ashram and was speaking to her, but also he was speaking to Prahlada in the womb. Pure devotional service. So, and Prahlada brings that up in these different verses. His how thankful he is to his spiritual master Narada Muni, because by Narada Muni's compassion upon him, Krishna's mercy. That's what his mercy was directed to him. And he's also making the point that it doesn't seem to be appropriate. Doesn't seem to be appropriate. Why? Why would someone like me get so much mercy? Right, that's the point. Is that materialistic devotee thinks, how come I don't get more? Like that. Krishna, why don't you give me some more? Like that. Why don't you give me some more? More of this, more of that, more of this. Mundane, materialistic religion, they're thinking like that. You're praying to God for all of these things, and if you get them, then the Lord is very, very happy with you. That's the test. And when I was coming down from Pasadena the other day, I was a little tired, so sometimes I turn on Christian radio. It's quite interesting to get them things for preaching. Just like a few weeks ago, I heard that one guy was saying that when you die, you don't stay in the grave. You actually go to be with God, but your body's not there. And that's the resurrection. Then you get your body after Christ comes. So you may be waiting around a long time for a body, but in spirit, they believe I don't know if all of them believe it, but somehow or other, your spirit is with God, but your body isn't there yet. So at the time of second coming of Christ, and all the good people, their bodies somehow or other come back together, and then they get their body back. It's interesting theology, isn't it? I don't know where they got that one, but Interesting. So anyways, the other day I was listening and they were talking about these different songs and so on, and how they're all just singing about how God is so kind to them, and they were really down and out. This one guy saying his youngest daughter was going in for an operation. He'd lost his car, and it sounds like a country western actually. And his oldest daughter was like failing college or something like that. But he prayed like anything to Jesus, and Jesus just came to him and just helped him. So that's it. No pure devotional service, nothing like that. So God's just going to help me out, help me out. And if He doesn't help me out, I have doubts that He's there. And of course, sometimes they say even you still have to have faith. You still have to have faith. But the point is that the nadanam najanam nasundim kavitam va jagadisha kame mama janme nijanmeshwar bhavatat bhakti hoite kitoi. That's our prayer right there in the Shikshastakam. Devotee doesn't want anything. Nadanam najanam nasundanim. The thing that everyone else wants, and even the religious people, they're depending on God for these things. Money and followers and comfort and association with the opposite sex and all these different things. And even moksha, liberation. I want that. I realize there's no happiness in the material world. I want to enjoy somewhere else. That's moksha. I want to enjoy freedom from all of this suffering. So I'm praying to God for all these things. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that no, bhavatat bhakta hoiti kitoi. The only thing I want is pure devotional service. And this is what attracts Krishna. Krishna is very much attracted. So Prahlada Maharaj, being such a great devotee, he's always thinking himself unfit, and bringing up the fact that proof of that is my birth. I was born in a raise your hand if this refers to you also. I was born in a family full of hellish material qualities of passion and ignorance. Okay, so sounds about right. So, because that has an effect on the consciousness. You're born into a family. That means the conditioning's there from previous lifetimes and the bad association. And somehow or other, it all changes. And Krishna is so kind to us, despite our not having any good qualification. And Prabhupada brings that out in the purport, that it's because of engaging in devotional service, it's no longer an important consideration one's material situation. That has nothing to do with attracting or not attracting Krishna's attention or the attention of the devotees. That you could say is also a type of causeless mercy. Like that. There's no material cause for devotional service. I think that's even brought up in detail in the Nectar Devotion. There's no material cause. It's the kindness of the devotees, and then Krishna becomes inclined. So, despite the fact that one is born in a very anti-Krishna conscious situation, and those influences are there. Does everyone ever feel a little influenced by modes of passion and ignorance? Or feel a lot influenced by ignorance and passion? Because it's like they say, there's that saying, it's running in your blood. It's in your blood. That they have that saying. What that means is you're just so conditioned, or it's in your, they say, your DNA. You can't deny that because of the body we have, it has an influence on our consciousness. We're all influenced by our material situation, the body, family we come from, our society. These are all influences, and they have an effect. But as one becomes more and more Krishna conscious, Prabhupada's pointing out here, that's the sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. By engaging enthusiastically in devotional service fully, then one transcends the modes of material nature and the effect on them. So it doesn't really matter what kind of body we have or where we came from. That's no longer a consideration. No longer a consideration. And to think it's a consideration is called Vaishnava Aparad, right? To think it's Prabhupada gives the example of Haridas Thakur. What did they say? Is it Malacha Haridas? Huh? Yavan Haridas, because he was born in a Yavan family. To say Yavan Haridas, you shouldn't say that. You don't connect the body of a devotee with their material situation. Oh, that's an American Vaishnav. That's an Indian Vaishnav, right? That's a Japanese Vaishnav. El mexicano, ya, está durmiendo en la clase. ¿Qué pasó? Right? Does everyone understand what I just said? Do you understand what I just said? Okay. Filipino, right? If you're Nebraskan, I'm from Peking, you know. So, okay. So you think, oh yeah, that devotee, he's from the Philippines. That one's from Mexico. That one's one of those puffed up Americans, right? They think like you're not supposed to think like that. You don't think like that. Oh, Indian devotees. Let me tell you stories about Indian devotees, right? Whoa, everyone's got stories about Indian devotees. So that's you're not supposed to do that. You know, devotees are transcendental and offered all respect. But point is, the modes are there, and they do affect us. They do affect us, and you can point that out. Prabhupada even said, the problem with you American devotees are. Well, that's one thing. Always changing everything. What's another one? Not afraid of Maya. And always fighting, arguing with everyone. So, puffed, that's American body, right? Yeah, I'm American, like that. Just want to change, knock everything down. Just that's across the street. Since I've been here, that's been like 3 or 4 different changes. It was a house and a gas station. And they knocked it all down, and it was... Actually, what it was, but the different places were in there, different. And now they knocked it down again. And sooner or later, who knows? Before we all go, it could knock it down again. Maybe it'll be a temple. Just build a gigantic temple in Pacific Beach. They just knock things down, and always arguing and not afraid of Maya. You American devotees. He didn't say the ones from Mexico, or they say you American devotees, because that's your conditioning to do things like that. So different bodies have different kinds of conditioning, which we have to try to overcome. And it's a symptom of different modes of material nature and how they affect us. So it's there, but we have to keep, by fully engaged in devotional service, we rise above these things. We rise above them. So Prahlada Maharaj is such an example that although being just a 5-year-old boy, that's one thing. You see little 5-year-old boys running around the temple. How old is Mukunda now? Even 8-year-olds, right? They don't seem to be so sober some of the time, right? Because that's the body. You're just like, whoa! You got a little kid body, you're just running around like anything with all that energy and just everything's... So how is it Prahlada Maharaj, a 5-year-old body, born in such a powerfully demoniac family, not like a little demon, but big demon family, But here he is, the best of the demons, right? Asurya Varya, Sutta, the son of the biggest demon. So how is this possible? That's what he's saying. How is it possible? Quaham. And it reminds me of this verse, we'll end soon, by Sudam Brahman. This pastime of Sudam Brahman just happened. Well, it happened thousands of years ago, but the day was, what is it called? A very auspicious day just came by. Yes, Akshaya Tritiya. That was the day that Sudam Brahman went to Dwarka. But he says here also, Quaham. That's how the verse begins. Quaham drida papiyam. Qua Krishna Srinaketana Brahmad Banduriti Samaham Bahubhyam Parirambataha. That verse, he's saying here that, who am I? He's on his way home. He's on his way home, and he's just thinking what just happened. What happened? He came to Dwarka. He didn't want anything. But his wife kept pushing, you got to go see Krishna because this is not working here. We're practically dying of starvation. I mean, he was so austere. And you said, you were in Gurukula together. Go see Krishna. And he's very kind to the Brahmins. And so he went there, but he never asked for anything. He never asked for a thing. And so the next day he heads out like that. And so anyway, he's on his way home, and he's saying, Kwaham Darida Papiyam. Who am I? Darida means poor. Papiyam, sinful. Now he's a Brahmin of the highest caliber, but he's thinking, and poor doesn't mean like I don't have a red cent or red rupee or whatever you'd have in those days. Darida in the sense that I'm just poor-hearted, poor intelligence. I'm just, not very good. So Darida Papiyam, sinful, poor, and it drops down here to this Brahma Bandhur. I'm a fallen friend of a Brahmin. Now that term means that even though I have a thread on and people call me a Brahmin, I'm not really a Brahmin. I'm just like a friend of a Brahmin. I'm not really a Brahmin. I'm just a friend of a Brahmin. That's a term used, Brahma Bandhu. You're not really a Brahmin, you're a friend of a Brahmin. That's a nice way of saying you're not a Brahmin. You're a Brahma Bandhu. You're not a Brahmin. Okay. It says, Iti smaham, certainly, that's my position. Oh yeah, here it is. Who am I? A sinful, poor friend of a Brahmin. And who is Krishna? Kwa. Then he's saying, and he's comparing. Kwa Krishna, Sri Niketanaha. So on one hand, here I am. But who's Krishna? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full of all opulences, unlimitedly. And nonetheless, he has embraced me with his two arms. So he's in ecstasy, just thinking about that encounter he had with Krishna. Because when he arrived, you can imagine him coming to the palace, his clothes were all just rags. And he was so thin, you could see his ribs. Is anyone here so austere you can see your ribs? Do we have anyone like that? Everyone's pretty well fed, right? Like that. So skinny. You see, you see the pictures. I remember this devotee Srinath, who's a brahmachari in our ashram, older god brother, real tall and thin, and he was the first one who posed for that picture in the old Krishna book of Sudam Brahman. Actually, I take that back. He did another one. It was, I think it was Satsrup Maharaj, when he was a brahmachari. He posed for the Sudam Brahman, kind of thin, very thin, and so on. But here's the same thing. Here's a devotee, so exalted, he went to school with Krishna and could just walk right into Krishna's palace. And Krishna was so happy to see him, Krishna embraced him. And they sat and talked, and Krishna said, by the way, did you bring me something? As a friend, did you bring me something? And he was so embarrassed because all he had was some chipped rice, little chipped rice. And Krishna, he said, no, I don't know. He didn't want to say. And then Krishna said, oh, yeah, I see it. And he grabbed it out of his hand and took one handful and ate it. And when he went to take a second, what happened? Rukmini stopped him. He said, no. It says she stopped him for two reasons. I know there's two, there may be three. One was, chipped rice is pretty rough stuff. And she was thinking, if Krishna takes another handful, it may hurt his digestion. It's hard to digest. But the real reason was, by taking that, such an ecstatic pastime. Okay. Such a sentimentalist. By taking that one little handful, Rukmini said that it conquered her as a goddess of fortune, and she could not reciprocate anymore if Krishna had taken another one. It was too much. It was so out of balance. She, as the goddess of fortune, to reciprocate with Sudam Brahman, already she didn't have enough opulence to reward him for that little gift. And it was just a little chipped rice. So what was that? It was actually his bhakti. So this is the level of Sudam Brahman, that he's such a pure devotee of Krishna that Lakṣmī is thinking, I cannot stop. And you're going to, what do they say that? Break the bank. That's the saying that you're going to break the bank. All the money's out. It's gone. I am the goddess of fortune. All opulences are at my disposal. And if you take one more morsel of that rice, I mean, pretty much he's already broken the bank. I can't reciprocate with him. I can't even do it. So he stopped her. So that's Sudam Brahman. So he's thinking, I'm Kwaham, I'm just a sinful, poor friend of a Brahmin. And Krishna is so kind that he embraced me with his arms. So these are the sentiments of the great devotees like Prahlada Maharaj and Sudam Brahman. And just showing, I guess, for us, on one side, our fallen position, and on the other side, how kind Krishna is, that he only sees the good in his devotees, and he's always very, very, very kind to his devotees. So we can end there. It's 8:32. Any questions or comments on these different points? Would you like a microphone?
Prabhu, I just, sorry to interrupt you, the microphone you are using is red.
It is red. Is it not supposed to be red?
Yeah, the battery should be replaced every day.
Oh yeah, it's red like the red dot. It has the red tape on it, and it does have a red dot, which means no one heard my class. God saved you. Okay, Hare Krishna. Do you have a microphone that works?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. I have few questions. I don't know from what start. First, maybe when you mentioned about Prahlada, he was studied in the womb, and also we can see that many devotees described in the Srimad Bhagavatam have previous history, and is it means that to accept this transcendental knowledge should be some previous activity? I mean,
something has came before that birth.
Yeah. I mean, how to relate to us.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, as far as relating to us, there's two things. When I was in India, this devotee I was traveling with, Pradyumna, had told me that some devotee had said something about Prahlada Maharaj's previous birth. And I asked a few other devotees, and they said they never heard that one, so I'm not going to repeat it. Have you heard anything? Okay. So many times, actually always is a continuum, in our previous, something, it's called a Gyata Sukriti, something we've done, and then we've brought it forward and we continue on. That's there, yes. And the other point being, though, that Prabhupada once, maybe more than once, he said, I've created your good fortune. So even though one may not have much qualification at all, devotees can create good fortune for others. That's just their kindness, their mercy, to bring people up, so. But there's something in the background. There's two things. Something in our background which brought us forward to receive the mercy and kindness of Krishna's devotees. It might have a very, very little thing. All you need is a little something, and then Krishna just exploits that, if you want to use that term. Krishna says, okay, you gave 1%, boom, you asked for it, here it comes, Krishna consciousness. He's just waiting for a little turn of the head, and then he just takes over. Because he's more anxious to bring us back home, back to Godhead than we are. So he just moves right in. Watch out, here comes Krishna and his devotees. That's how it happens. That's his kindness. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay.
Second, is when you told that pure devotee is not Ghanam, not Janam, not Sundrim, no desires. But what should do the beginners of devotees with material desires, because we cannot imitate this level that I don't want.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good question. Even Prabhupada was asked about this, how the prayer in there, I don't even want liberation. And Prabhupada said that's for the very advanced devotees. You should want liberation. You should want to get out of this material world. The very advanced devotees, they're saying, I don't even care if I leave the material world. But that's not our platform. Ours is the material world. The catalyst is the suffering in this world for us to become Krishna conscious. So we do pray, Krishna, help me get out of this material world. Ainanda tunuja kinkaram patitam mission is right there, right? The next verse. Ainanda tunuja. I am suffering in this material world. Please, please, just take me out of here. So it's a day-to-day catalyst for us to practice Krishna consciousness. Is the suffering in this material world, for our suffering and the sufferings of others. So that's natural, but it is a symptom of the great devotees. They don't even care to leave the material world. They just want service. Doesn't matter. Here, there, anywhere. Doesn't matter. But that is a very advanced platform of Krishna consciousness. The test is, how advanced are we? Well, will you want to perform devotional service here or over there washing the pots all day? Heaven, hell. Right? Sankarshan says, get in the kitchen. I want you to wash pots. Oh, Krishna, I don't care where you put me, heaven or hell. Tap on the shoulder. I need you in the wash pots for the next 5 hours. Why did I pray like that? So that's a test. We don't care. Just give me some service. I don't care where it is, heaven or hell, the pot washer, this, that, Sankirtan. Just give me some service. That's a very advanced platform, but that's what we're aspiring for. Because the greatest happiness is just that Krishna's happy, our spiritual master is happy. That's a very exalted platform.
And last one. You said that we should not, how to say, distinguish between American devotees, devotees. No, I know this text from Nectar of Instruction, but the question is, how to say, no, devotees, there are different levels, and so how we can link this statement and statement that Bhagavad Gita 9:30, that if some Apichet Sadrashchara.
Okay.
And the question is that sometimes devotees, so-called devotees, I don't know how to say this one, so terrible things do, and also this is not how to say, not chance. This is they do it
on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
I not speak about some this how to say, this place or that place. In general, because of we know that sometimes very terrible situations,
yes.
And how to everything this correlate.
Okay, there's two things to say. One is main point you're bringing up is that. You have to still have your discretion, you know. When you say someone's a devotee, there's a huge spectrum there. And there's a huge spectrum of neophyte, sincere, insincere, left, right, liberal, conservative, because we're still not pure devotees. We're called devotees, but we're not pure devotees. So there's conditioning there. And that conditioning sometimes can be very serious, and but one always has their discretion, and one's not a fool. You know what I'm saying? So that's important, and that Apichet Suracharo verse is for those who are very, very sincerely engaged in devotional service, and there's some accidental, and it's reconciled. But because they're fully engaged in devotional service, work out. But it's true, just because someone puts on a particular type of clothing or calls themselves something, doesn't mean that's who they are. Okay? That's one thing. And the other thing was about, saying, oh, he's an American devotee, Indian devotee, this or that. One has to be careful. That has to do with criticizing. Oh, I'm finding fault because he's an American devotee. I'm finding fault because he's an Indian devotee or this or that. It's from India, this and that. We know there's different kinds of cultures and conditioning and so on. And sometimes those are very wonderful. Prabhupada also said about the Americans, he said, do something amazing, or what's the value of being an American? In other words, Americans are known for doing gigantic things, just taking over the world, 5% of the world's population using like 45% of the world's energy. Americans just like, whoa, move on in and do something amazing, something big. Everyone's trying to come to America because everything's so big, so passionate. So Prabhupada said, your American devotees, do something big, some big preaching. So utilize that American conditioning, So everyone's got the conditioning can be used very nicely in devotional service, but if you use that birth as a way to criticize, we hear that sometimes, right? He's from south of the border. Watch out for Kevin. He's always talking like that. So that's where your problem is. So, oh man, he's a Mexican devotee? Fantastic. Kanai, what does he do every Saturday morning? It's the best breakfast in town. People come from miles, right? Because he's got Mexican conditioning. He makes a comida muy delicioso, see? Delicioso. Very good. He makes a fantastic breakfast, right? Enchilada and this and that. And he's doing Taco Tuesdays, right? So, it's good. It's good. So, right? Is that okay? And how are Govardhan's spring rolls or stir fry on what morning? He does this Filipino thing like that? Is it okay? Huh? Okay. So that's a simple showing how your cultural differences can actually be brought to devotional service, and you do wonderful things. Okay. Does that answer your 3 questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Like that. So we can end here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.